Hello right bags, it's Jade, welcome to a special grounded video. Today, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like in, and let me guide you through the 10 things that I think grounded needs. Now I've showcased a lot of the future content, I've shown you all the koi fish, I've shown you all the different armour and weapons, bees come into the game, and a whole host more of the underwater labs. We know they're going to be getting monthly updates. The first one's coming on 27th of August, so we know kind of roughly where the content's going to be at. Also, they're about 25% done so far in the story, so I feel like they've probably got a plot, a path of what they're going to add, but that doesn't stop us speculating a bit about what we want to see. Bear in mind, it's still only 12 people that have worked on this game, so expectations may be a little bit high because of the success they've had. Had over like 1 million people play the game in 2 days. It's been all over YouTube, you guys are loving it. And we'll go over some of your suggestions at the end of the video as well from what you put in my community tabs. But let's go, let's take a look at what I would like to see. I will be showing spoilers and talking about a lot of stuff in the game, so don't watch if you don't want any spoilers. But number 10 for me is environmental stuff. I would really love to see some weather effects added to the game. I don't know if they're going to ever add seasons. Obviously it's a contained story, so it feels like it's meant to be pretty short, but it would be really cool if the map did undergo some changes. Maybe it could be after a couple of 5 or 6 in-game days it would change slightly. Obviously you can't put full seasons into the game, maybe not, but if they ever added a proper sandbox mode where you could just keep playing forever and ever without the story elements, maybe that's something they could do. Weather in other survival games is a little bit notorious for being really bad or not necessarily adding much to the game. When you think about weather in Ark, you get rain, which is pretty annoying on a lot of the maps and islands, or you get extreme temperatures, which mean that you have to make sure you've got the right equipment and armor pieces before you travel to certain biomes. What I'd be looking for different is maybe a weather system that could add more resources. So if it did rain, maybe straight afterwards you'd find more grubs running around the map, because I think grubs do come a bit like worms up to the surface when it's damp ground. Maybe there won't be as many spiders out if it was raining. I don't want it just to be a cosmetic change, although that would be a good compromise if we did have some raindrops falling. But obviously they would be massive. The raindrops would literally maybe drown a player the size of them. But it could be pretty cool to add something like that to it, where if they could have some sort of fine mist or fine rain, and it would change and mix up what or how the creatures are around the map. I've said it a couple times now, my suggestion is to have some sort of ice box. Maybe it could be a broken down refrigerator in the corner of the yard, and maybe that is causing some ice flow to come out, because that could be only real plausible explanation for having some sort of snow in the game. It is obviously set in a late summer, everyone's running around in t-shirts and shorts, so it would be a bit weird if all of a sudden it started snowing everywhere. But I think they could do something pretty clever. Maybe it can be a scientific machine based along the story that is changing the weather in a little micro climate. I think it could definitely add something extra to the game. Realistically, is that going to happen? Possibly. I reckon they could do some visuals, but I can't imagine they're going to go out of their way to add whole new systems like rain and wind or snow that would really change and mix up the gameplay. And I don't think their story or the way they're doing it really does mean they're going to add any seasons. But yeah, like I said, it's 10 things I wish they could add. Number 9, more ways to get across the map. We've already got the bouncer, we've already got the dandelion things that you can pretty much glide, but I definitely want to see more added to it. I'm not talking about vehicles and cars, but definitely more ways that you can get across the map. What if we had some springs that allowed you to jump up a little bit higher? Maybe you can make them out of cricket legs. These could all be sort of armor pieces that just give you a little bit more. We know the bee armor suit, in the future it obviously gives you the chance to go a bit quicker, and it does look like it's going to stop fall damage. But what if there was more armor sets like that gave you much more of a speed boost or did give you a better higher jump? Also gliders, proper gliders in the game too. I can't remember if I saw it in one of the trailers, but something that moves with a little bit more speed rather than just the dandelion tuft. That would be really cool if you could literally hang glide across the whole map. Of course, the other big one is fast travel. A lot of players would like to see that. I don't think it's necessarily needed that much. I don't think the map is that huge just yet. But if they do go ahead and start expanding the rest of the game, then maybe teleporters would be a necessity. But it'd probably be something that we'd have to earn. Maybe some of the late game items. Again, a bit like Ark. The problem with teleporters though, it takes away a lot of the fun and gameplay and elements from the game where you can just pretty much bypass all the dangers. So it definitely have to be considered. Maybe they'd only have a limit to the uses, or maybe they can put some fast travel points around the map. That way you'd still have to journey and adventure occasionally. Number 8, I kind of mentioned it already, but I would like a proper sandbox mode. No story elements, well not much anyway, unless it really did mean that you could go and progress and unlock stuff. But just different ways to play, maybe increase or ramp up the difficulty of some of the creatures. Right now we've got creative and then we've got the different difficulty modes and they're all cool. But I would like to see a just complete endless sandbox mode. Now I know you can pretty much play this game endlessly, but eventually you are going to keep triggering the story elements because you need to go and unlock new items. And at the moment the scope of it is just a little bit small compared to others. So I think it'd be interesting if they can implement something more hardcore. Maybe more creatures will attack your bases. And that leads me on to number 7. For sure, I really want to see more creatures being versatile in how they come and attack your base. If you've ever played 7 Days to Die, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, or maybe even Save the World, where the zombies will come and pretty much try and take down your buildings. We know that the larvae creatures can do this sometimes, and we know that the ants will do this as well when they're looking for food. But I would like it to be something a bit more regular and something that you can prepare for. A brand new game coming out very soon, Drake Hollow, has this mechanic. It tells you of an incoming raid and you've got a couple minutes to get back and get everything ready. I would like a game or a mode or something added like this so that we could have lots of different creatures attacking your bases. Maybe the more advanced you get, the more stuff you unlock, that will signify that certain creatures can come and attack your base more. I think it will definitely help with the little bit lack of content at the moment. Other than going through the story beats, people kind of are rinsing through it quite quickly. Number 6, more creatures. We know so many creatures are coming. I've been showing you guys for weeks now all different types. Whether it's the firefly, whether or not it's the koi. We know these types of creatures are coming, but I definitely want to see more. And I know you guys have got lots more suggestions. So we'll kind of save this to the end. But yeah, for sure, I want to see more versatility. Even more creatures running around the map. Some that help you, but also I'd like to be able to use them for different items and different resources. We'll come to the taming part in a while, but instead of just that, we could have it that you have to get some resources off these creatures without killing them. Maybe you've got to befriend them, maybe you've got to drop certain pieces of food in front of them and they'll allow you to get close enough that you can take a bit of fur from them or something. Number 5. This one goes hand in hand with creatures maybe taking you on a little bit more and attacking your base, but for sure, more unique kinds of defences. We've already seen from the game's files and stuff I've shown you in the past, we've got stuff like honey traps and ice traps that will either slow or speed up certain creatures. And it'd be really cool if you could really build certain things that they would drop into pits of spikes. We know catapults are going to be a thing in the game too, although it looks like it needs a lot more work. Likewise, slingshots need even more work as it hasn't even got a proper model yet. Maybe there's a way to even notify you that creatures are approaching your base. Maybe you can have an alert system that they trigger if they come near on pressure plates, and even turn on searchlights or spotlights. Again, this would all go really well with a sandbox mode. So for sure, more defences, more ways that you can have a bit of fun and organise some automation to keep your base safe. Number 4. Some really unique different biomes being added to the game. We know it's a backyard. You can't exactly go ahead and add some crazy biomes to it. We've already obviously got the haze, the grasslands and the hedge areas, but we do know there's a substantial amount of areas that have been locked off. Say they're under development, like the flower bed. So maybe that could be a bit more exotic. Maybe it can be smaller flowers to maybe feel like a bit like a jungle. Wildflowers growing everywhere. Can get all different types of petals that will make different types of arrows or different types of food types. And then we've got that great big massive slope that's just next to the shed area. That's a huge space, and if they end up expanding that with more content and more biomes, there could be a real good chance to add something unique. We already know we got the sandbox, although sadly they've taken out the castle that was there. It's just dead grass at the moment. So that might still end up being a desert-like environment, which would be pretty cool. Maybe there can be a mud and peat area. Maybe they've got some manure going on where they're trying to help grow some of their plants and stuff. And that sounds pretty yucky, stepping around it in pretty much cow poo. It'd be interesting as a landscape running around certain areas like these with much more deadly creatures and bugs. And maybe this is where you get fertilizer, which is an in-game item. I know lots of you guys want to see some sort of action inside the house, but personally I don't think it's going to necessarily happen. I just can't see them actually implementing stuff. I feel like the game is set in the backyard and it's meant to be like that. The idea you start taking it inside starts feeling a little bit more like a Toy Story or one of them modded Minecraft maps where you run around pretty much a battle royale inside a big huge building or room. For sure, maybe there could be a bit of a story feature when you're going through the house, but nothing where you'll actually spend a lot of time. Just something quick to go either in the doorway and then teleport up to the attic where it could be the science headquarters for the Omnicorp. Number 3. Alright, we're on to the big hitters now. I don't have any problem with Grounded only being a 4-player co-op. My favourite survival game ever is The Forest, which is still only a 4-player co-op game. That said, I do recognise that a lot of players would love to be able to play with even more. And I think given that some other games like Ark, and I think Conan as well, have added up to 6 or 8 players, and even Minecraft can support lots of players too, I think there's got to be a way that we can maybe host our own servers or just increase the player limit. I don't think it needs PvP, not every game needs to be a Ark or Rust clone, and PvP isn't as popular as most people think. Bearing in mind I've covered these games for years, actually more people play games like Conan and Ark Survival Evolved in single player or PvE than PvP. With the story, the development, the way they've gone about it, making it more of a family friendly game, I can't really ever see them adding proper PvP servers, and I just don't think I'd want them to either. But for sure, if they could have some sort of realm service like Minecraft, or rentable servers like Ark and Conan have, that would be really cool. Even if it was only a maximum of 10 or 12 players, it'd just still be really interesting to be able to play on a server where it was running all the time. But for sure, I'd still be quite happy with it just being a 4-player co-op game too. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself the world's biggest builder, but I do like seeing lots of buildable items and ways to customise your base, and that's at number 2. I think a lot of people will want more furniture, more different types of resources to build out of, and different tile sets. At the moment we've kind of really only got the grass planks with a few reinforced bits or some stems, but it would be cool if we could have more clay pieces instead of just the foundations, and possibly go even further and add completely brand new build tile sets. Also make it more functional as well. Maybe some of them definitely will be harder to break into. Also kind of related, well maybe not, but I had to fit it in somewhere. Customization for your characters. Instead of only being able to find scabs, it would be nice to find lots of different cosmetic items that we could wear, or we'd be able to earn by doing certain things, like kill 20 ladybugs and get a ladybug t-shirt. Stuff that will just be cosmetic and won't actually affect the gameplay. That's pretty cool. That keeps people interested as well, and it helps with the customization and that people feeling like this game, this character is theirs. We know they're not going to change the actual characters themselves, the models, the faces, but they could at least give the ability so we can get some new clobber. And number 1, alright, the big one, taming in Grounded. Do we need it? For sure, I think we need some sort of taming system. It'd be cool to have at least some sort of pets. You can make an ant a pet and it will follow you, and maybe it can alert you to bigger dangers. Not necessarily be OP and take on wolf spiders on its own, or maybe there can be some abilities, other abilities, like maybe the gnat will be good at finding certain resources like food. When it comes to the bigger creatures, I'm not too sure. I don't want it to be just an Ark clone, but let's face it, Ark is popular because you can go and get all these creatures. There is something about being able to ride a fantastic looking character like a creature, and I think the bugs in Grounded are just as good as the dinosaurs in Ark. So if you could maybe use these creatures in different ways, but not necessarily OP. It's not like you're going to be going and killing every creature going just because you managed to get one stink bug. Maybe they could still have a very short amount of health, but it'd be much quicker and easier to tame them. What you don't want is to sit there for 20 hours like Ark trying to get creatures. And if you were able to mount them, you'd use them for particular uses like you're meant to in Ark. Certain dinosaurs can carry more, certain dinosaurs got more attack, so you could do the same thing. The ladybugs could maybe potentially carry more items. Maybe you could even get a saddle on it, and that'll have like a plank area at the back, and it'll be able to hold up to 20 pieces of plank grass or something. Maybe stink bugs are useful for chopping through grass really quickly with their mandibles. Or simply as a pretty much crowd control creature where you could literally deploy its gas and kill a bunch of ants all in one go if they're attacking your base, but limit it with a proper cooldown. And then yes, it would be maybe interesting to ride around on a spider, but you start veering into it being just a little bit OP, and where does the challenge come from if all of these creatures can do all these things? So it's got to be balanced. If you're going to have mounts, make sure they only have one really specific use and that they are pretty easy to kill but not so hard to get. And of course, flying around on a bee, that would be really cool if you can get around the map. And that blends into what I said earlier about how to get across the map. So as I promised, I said I'd go through some of your comments and what you think, and we'll go through maybe some of the most popular ones. So I have asked what you'd like to be added to the game that isn't there, that isn't taming. And I did ask if you wanted some of the creatures to be tameable or not. So big shout out to everyone that popped onto my community section. And I will use this opportunity just to let you guys know, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member and get access to a bunch of different perks. I'm just going through the approval process right now, where you'll be able to get all sorts of different levels. Rat Bag, Top Banana, Daddy Rat Bag, Ultra, or if you want a simp for me, you can. That's all going to be coming very soon. Or go ahead and check out my Patreon, where you can also become a supporter as well and get access to pretty much the same level perks. But yeah, a little bit of promo for myself. So 566 comments. Let's see which ones were the top. Craig Lovell says, even in Honey I Shrunk the Kids, they tamed an ant and rode it. It also helps fight a bigger bug. So yeah, riding an ant or a bee would be great. Rihanna Nell said she'd love to see a butterfly and have them random colour patterns, basically a scout mount for quick dive in and dive out stuff. Guan Commando said a ladybug would be a great time, raidable bees and mosquitoes would be cool, or about capturing a spiderling and raising its adulthood or used as a mount. I didn't even think about breeding in Grounded, that could be a thing. Millipedes, centipedes would especially be neat, as well as maybe a praying mantis. A praying mantis would be huge. And centipedes and the mantises could become even bigger bad creatures than the wolf spider. Daniel definitely wants that ladybug as transport mount for materials, I agree. Hi all the time says he wants a whole colony of ants that you could train up 50 soldier ants and make them pretty much follow you. They're small and weak, but they got numbers. Chugger125, it'd be cool if you found the egg or larva for the bug and raised it. Got Guava says he doesn't really care about being able to ride creatures. I'd rather make something like a paper airplane that can move you across the map or certain locations. Silent Shadow says, oh lord, I don't want this turned into Ark. I'd stop playing if it becomes something like that. Something friendly as rideable. Cyan Water says, should be snakes and snails. Raiding a snail would be fun, but slow. Pretty much lots of you agree that there could be some taming creatures, and they definitely should be used for things like transport materials, but maybe not having anything too OP. And in terms of other stuff to be added to the game, 8486 Odin says a full zip lines, ballistas for camps, shields made from ladybug shell. Yes, definitely. Shroom85 says he wants to see environmental events that you have to survive, such as giant rain droplets, a lawnmower, people playing outside getting stumped on, and sprinkler systems. For sure, the sprinkler and maybe the lawnmower could just about work. But I don't know how it would really blend with the rest of the world. And definitely people stepping on you. I'm not too sure if I'm down for that one. Ant Queens, an ecosystem of ants actually hunting spiders. A bit more story for the August update. And seasons, like summer and winter. That's what Daniel Bedoya says. Nick Colin wants some quality of life stuff, like being able to craft stuff just by being near the crafting benches. And for your armor not to be used as a slot in your inventory and have it just separate. John Johansson definitely wants more story, however also going inside the house. Could open up way more resources and crafting recipes, maybe give us boss fights against mice or rats. Lots of you guys definitely want different weather, and you definitely want the armor not to take up inventory slots. The hero has a good option, he says yes thank you too, it'd be lovely to interact with bug societies in a way. Ants giving you quests as Burgle does, a spider that talks to you and you can befriend it. I would love small scale world elements that could be introduced, similar to Bugs Life, Ants or even Toy Story. Kiefer Stewart wants to see the gas station nearby. Brad John wants some more NPCs, maybe a small town with trolls or some other humanised creature. Yeah, I think that would probably turn it just a little bit too crazy, unless there really are aliens in the game. I do not want lice, fleas and cockroaches Frosty Games, no siree, the larvae are bad enough. Lots of you guys want more bosses and definitely DLC inside the house. So there we go guys, absolutely keep keeping the comments on when I do these questions. And hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, let's give you something to think about. Will Obsidian do anything that we've mentioned? I don't know, I feel like a lot of that stuff is kind of a bit pie in the eye sky. They've obviously got their story laid out, they've obviously got kind of their first big update going, but I reckon they're going to be in early access for maybe at least a year. So that's a long time that they could potentially expand and add a lot of the stuff we're asking for. And it is in the Unreal Engine, which is pretty easy to add and put some of this stuff into. comparatively to other games. So yeah, who knows what the future holds, but I'll be there for every step of it. So make sure you've got notification bell ticked on. Go and check out all my other grounded content and survival news, and I'll see you ratbags later.